Hey, welcome to my deck profile of Blue Eyes. This Blue Eyes version is very budget. I think this is honestly the best version to run budget if you do not have access to any of the expensive cards that make this deck really tier 1. I would say this is probably a tier 2 deck. You could definitely run this at locals. You might get a little bit higher in regionals. However, if you have the expensive version of the deck, which is going to be Primite, definitely run that version because that one's just absolutely insane with this deck. Um, it effectively has a lot more interaction, a lot more stronger spells and monsters and stuff that can get you a lot of resources. However, this budget version is for either the new player or the player that just doesn't have the resources to get those expensive cards, just like me. So here we go. All right. So the first thing I want to go over is the big guys that we are going to be summoning a lot, which is Blue Eyes. We only run two. In this version, can run three. I can go over that here later. But two is really what you need because if you draw it, it's not effectively a dead card. However, you want to see other things other than that in your hand. And next, I run Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, which is insanely good. And then I run Dragon Spirit of White, which is always counted as a Blue Eyes, no matter where it is. So with these four monsters, I have seen a lot of success and had a lot of success with running Spirit. A lot of deck profiles don't run this card. However, I think it's actually really good because its effect reads that if it's normal or special summon, you could target one spell or trap your opponent controls and just banish it. So it's a non-destruction removal of a spell or trap. So uh, this can, if you do it right, you can effectively get this out two times a turn, and it's a non-once per turn effect. It also has a special summon effect, so if this gets stuck in your hand, you can also special summon it by sending something that mentions Eyes of Blue, or uh, no, you contribute it to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I don't really use that effect. So, however, the main one that you really want to kind of be getting out still is going to be Jet Dragon. Really awesome card. This card prevents everything that you control from being destroyed by card effects. And then it has a recursion effect. So if it's in the grave and a Blue Eyes, if anything gets destroyed on the field, even your opponents, you can special summon this out, and that turns on again. It has another battle effect too for getting rid of problematic cards if you attack at the start of the damage step, um, or at the end of the damage step. Nope, start of the damage step. You can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So it's really good for removal with things that can't be destroyed by card effects. So really good in the mirror matchup. This is also really good in the mirror matchup. I've used this in the mirror matchup many times, and my opponents don't expect it because I just still think it's a really good target for certain situations. Um, you just banish True Light with this card on their field, and they can't get it back because Maiden only reads that you can set True Light from your deck, grave, or hand. It doesn't say banishment, and there's no really effective way to get that back. So once you do that, pretty much that turns off their entire field. You don't get the destruction of the field, but I think at that point, if you're summoning this out, in the mirror matchup, you definitely have an advantage with getting that True Light off the field. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to leave these up here because I might refer back to these cards. I probably will a lot, but the first thing I want to talk about is Maiden of White. This card is an absolutely goated card. It's broken. It should be run at 3. Don't run less. You want to see this as much as possible. Effectively, this card is its main effect that you want to use every time is if it's on the field or if it's in your hand, you can send it to the graveyard to place a True Light, like I said, from deck, graveyard, or hand to the field, and it doesn't search it. True Light's immediately on the field, so you can activate its effects immediately if somebody tries to get rid of it. But yeah, really, really awesome card here. It has other effects. If it's targeted for an attack or by a card effect, it can summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Um, Yep, Blue Eyes White Dragon, or one level 1 tuner from your grave. I don't effectively use that much. It's sometimes, it might come up. You want to keep that effect in mind. Its other really good effect is whenever it's in the grave and you special summon a Blue Eyes, you can special summon this card from the graveyard for free. Really awesome card. You want to see this as much as possible. Also, sorry about the camera quality. I just realized it's kind of bad, but I'm trying my best with getting these out to you. So next we have Eyes of Blue. This card's also really good. You normal summon this, add any level 1 light tuner from the deck to your hand. And then it has a really good second effect that I don't see a lot of people utilize whenever I'm watching them play Blue Eyes. Is that you can discard this card and target one effect monster you control. Send that to the graveyard, and then you can special summon one Blue Eyes monster from your deck. That could be any of these 4 cards because they're all counted as Blue Eyes. If you have something on the field that got negated by an imperm, or that you just want off the field, or maybe you took control of something in some way, shape, or form, depending on what version of the deck you're playing, this can effectively get it off the field, and you get a free summon of a Blue Eyes. I think this is a really awesome card. It's also tuners. These are tuners. Next is Master with Eyes of Blue. This is a little bit for the grind game. You will run into a lot of grind. This deck is going to grind. It's just how it works. However, this is a really awesome card. I run this at 1 in every version I play because it has a graveyard effect. Effectively, if you normal summon it, you can add 1 level 1 light tuner from the graveyard to your hand, and its graveyard effect is if it's in the graveyard, you can shuffle target effect monster, shuffle it into the deck, especially on a Blue Eyes, any of these 4 from the grave instead of the deck. So this is only from the deck. This one's from the grave. So you can effectively normal summon this, add Sage back from your graveyard, and then go off with it. So it's just a really awesome card for the grind game. And there's other reasons why I want this in here. Next is I have not a lot of deck lists run this card. It's the White Stone of Ancients. This is a Nibiru, pretty much like a backup to Nibiru. So I will explain more of why I put this in here, but effectively its effect is during the end phase, this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn. You can special one Blue Eyes from your deck, and then it has this other effect where you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You don't effectively need that effect often. None of these really do much of anything in the hand except for this, but you would have to have it on the field. It's odd. There's not really many opportunities where you would want to do that. But going into the next monster, we have Neo Kaiser Seahorse. I run this at 3. It has no on-summon effect. Once you send it to the graveyard from the field only, it will dump a monster that mentions... you could send one Blue Eyes monster, so any of these 4, or one monster that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. So you effectively dump this one most often. So this goes really good with our Link 1 of the deck, which I'll get into here in a minute. This is also a free special summon from the hand, so if you control a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can special summon this card from your hand. It has a level modulating effect. Not a lot of people use that because it's really slow. It's not that good. It's very niche on whenever you want to get that out. However, there are some hands where you can actually make that turn 1 boss monster one of the synchros, and it's really good because then it's actually properly summoned. You can summon it off of everything that you're seeing here because it's still Blue Eyes, but it's properly summoned this time. Next tech card I run is 2 Dictator of D. So what this card reads, it's a free special summon from the hand if you dump a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. It also has a really good effect too that not a lot of people utilize. I think this card is honestly really good. Not a lot of deck lists run this card, but it has you control a Blue Eyes, or while you control a Blue Eyes monster, you choose what your opponent attacks if they're attacking. And then it also has, you can discard one Blue Eyes White Dragon or one card that mentions it. And then target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's actually kind of good on the field whenever you have a little bit of grind game you draw it into on turn 3 or 4. So yeah, this is also a free special summon because there's sometimes I've had trouble with this deck. If you don't run this card, that's effectively less opportunities to have Blue Eyes in your graveyard because a lot of effects will trigger or a lot of effects will really benefit from having a Blue Eyes in the graveyard. So this really gets it out immediately. It just dumps it immediately. Next is a little bit of a tech card. This one is Mathematician. This is the reason why this is in the deck is because it's a free dump of anything that you're seeing right here on this row. You don't want to dump Neo Kaiser Seahorse for its effect because it only works on the field. You do, however, want to see either Master, White Sin of Ancients. This is why I said I was going to mention this later, because you can dump that effectively and keep going with your combo. And if you get nibbed, there are ways to beat around the nib, but this is one of them, where you just basically get a free Blue Eyes Jet Dragon from the deck at the end phase. So if you end up everything getting nibbed, then you have backup with that. But you mainly want to send Maiden, or you want to send Master from the deck to the grave. I also thought of running Farfa, which was mentioned in another deck profile I was watching. I didn't like how it went. It was good, but the reason why you ran it is because of Detonator. You effectively get a Detonator off the field. However, every time they had Detonator on the field, they either had a cross somehow, or they had the Mitsurugi boss monster, which effectively had to make me discard, and I didn't really like all that. So I decided to cut it out and still just run this at 3 because it's just been so good. It's also level 3 with another card that I can get into if you happen to have it. Anyway, that rounds up the main monster lineup. I have hand traps I'm going to go over last. Next, we have 3 wishes for Eyes of Blue. These are the spells. This is really good card. You discard 1 card, add 1 level Light Tuner, and a spell trap that mentions Blue Eyes or Dragon for the deck to your hand. And then it has a banish effect where you banish it. You can equip a Blue Eyes Fusion Dragon to a regular Blue Eyes, one of these two, from that, and then you can just plus off of it. But it's really good for getting out of the graveyard. That way you can True Light effect a lot. I'll go to that here in a minute. If you have this in hand and you want to beat out Ash or Droll, you always play this first. Don't be afraid. If it gets ashed, you will probably, with all these starters that you will have follow-up, I guarantee you. Okay, so next we have 3 Roars. You can cut this to 2. I like it at 3 because of consistency reasons. Free special summon from the deck, and it has a banish effect to let you fusion summon using monsters from your hand or field, including a Blue Eyes monster. You won't see that effect a lot. However, I thought of a list where this effectively can fusion summon anything. It doesn't say specifically Blue Eyes. You just have to use one of these Blue Eyes cards from the field in order to resolve that fusion summon. You won't use that a lot. That probably won't come up that much. However, it's nice to know. Next, we have 1 Ultimate Fusion, and then 1 of the field spell Mausoleum. This is searchable by our link 1. Ultimate Fusion is just one of those rare instances where you might need to set that instead of another target, because you can fusion summon with it, and it also recycles back your Blue Eyes or anything that you need to recycle back into the deck, depending on your hand. Mausoleum, it's a free level 1 normal summon, and then it has a targeting effect where you target a card you control. So this will trigger Maiden if you need to. It'll dump a vanilla level 8, your Blue Eyes, to increase its attack, and it's just basically get the Blue Eyes in the grave. And next I have a tiny tech card I wish I would have played whenever I played this a lot more, or when I went to a regionals with it, is Burst Stream of Destruction. It's a Regeki for their field if you control a Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's just... nobody sees it coming. You could set it off a True Light and immediately activate it afterwards because it's a normal spell. And if you have a Blue Eyes on field, like they have to respect it. So it's also searchable off Mausoleum. If this would probably go to graveyard, and once it goes to graveyard, there's no way of getting it back. It also doesn't mention Blue Eyes, so you can't set it off a True Light. I should really go over True Light here in a minute, but yeah. So here's the big guy here. You only want to run 1 of these. If you run 2, I honestly think that's okay, because if it gets off the field, or if it just somehow goes away and you need it back, like if it's banished, that's effectively the time when you want this card. However, really running 1 will be just fine, because honestly, if your True Light gets banished, it's kind of over, but yeah. So it has a few effects here. If it is sent from the spell or trap zone to the graveyard, you can destroy all. You have to destroy all cards you control or all monsters you control. This is a mandatory effect, so it's always going to be Changeling 1. Um, I don't know why that card reads that. It didn't need to, but I get it because it would honestly be a really broken card if it didn't have that kind of downside. However, we wish there was a lot more downsides to other really broken cards just like this one. That's why I think that this deck is really going to survive for a long time because that has that effect. It's basically an out, right? Um, so it also has its other bullet effects. So once per turn, you can special summon a Blue Eyes from your hand or graveyard. It has to be Blue Eyes White Dragon. That really triggers off your Maiden if you need to summon it out of the grave. And it also has its other effect: set one spell or trap from the deck to your field of a spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon that you don't have in your graveyard already. So if you have a Wishes engraved and you banish it, you can activate that to set a Wishes again. So really good card, awesome card. I have Majesty of the White Dragons is my other trap. I almost want to run this at 2 because this card is absolutely insane. Its main effect that you want to use is you can show up to 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons from your hand, graveyard, or from your hand, face up monster zone, or graveyard. And you can just non-target destroy equal number of cards your opponent controls. This is really good because you can effectively non-target destroy things that you just can't target and get rid of, or they would have to figure out a way to situate their board to where they didn't get everything destroyed. Really awesome card. And then this is also a tiny tech card, the Ultimate Creature Destruction. It's effectively making you any of these Blue Eyes monsters or any of your extra Blue Eyes monsters a towers for the turn. And then if you summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you set this again. It would have to be one of these two. You can set this again and then activate it on your next turn to make it a towers again, but it gets banished from the graveyard. I think this is actually kind of spicy tech. Not a lot of people are expecting it. If you don't feel comfortable running Burst Stream or this card, that's your choice because this is a 42 card list. With the amount of starters you have, it does not hurt you to run these because effectively you're going to see a starter almost every hand. And lastly, we have our hand traps. We have 3 Ash, self-explanatory. 1 Veiler, never run more than this. You don't want to see this often. This is so searchable because Sage can normal summon search it. This can Master can effectively normal summon, add it back from graveyard to your hand. It's like, please stop. Don't run this more than 1. It's so searchable. It's just a good target to have in deck if you need that last search off of your level 1 normal summons. Imperms and Droll, because Droll shuts down Mitsurugi, which this deck's number 1 biggest fear. Almost matching number 1 with Malice is Mitsurugi Raziel. If you lose die roll and you're against Raziel Mitsurugi, you will effectively probably lose the whole match because Detonator is an absolutely broken card. It can effectively eliminate this entire field. That is the main deck stuff. I'm going to leave some of these on the side here because I might refer back to them while I go over the extra deck here. So the first thing I want to go over is our Link one. Everything you see here in this row can summon this card. This is Spirit with Eyes of Blue. So what this reads is if it's special summoned, you can add a Mausoleum, which is the field spell, wherever that went. You can add the field spell from the deck to your hand. And it has its other effect where you contribute it to summon a Blue Eyes monster from your hand or graveyard. However, if you special summon a Blue Eyes non-vanilla, then its effects are negated if it's from the graveyard. You can summon it from the hand though. So if you're stuck with a Jet in hand, you can't get into the graveyard, you can use this to special summon it. If it's from the graveyard, its effects are negated and you can't attack. If it's from your hand, it's free. This is a sweet card. This is so good. You're gonna find this being the main target for your Ashes, for Imperms, anything. So if you summon this card out in your EMZ, expect that to get interacted with. That's why it's good if you have a Sage in hand. If this, let's say this gets Impermed, you can effectively use Sage effect to send it to the graveyard to summon a Blue Eyes. So you still have follow up with that. Um, it has a downside effect where you can only special summon dragons if this is on the field. So I've been in situations where this got impermed. I was able to summon for free everything. However, you want to be careful because if you have this out in the field and you do your combo wrong, then you will be stuck on this and probably Blue Eyes and have to go into Herald and pass. So be careful with what you do with this card whenever it's on the field. Awesome card though. Everything, like I said, everything here can summon this. That's why Mathematician is very good. It requires a level 4 lower spellcaster or dragon. So yeah. Next is I have one seals. So this is really good for beating Nibiru. You can get into a situation where you have a Heavenly Spheres. You want to make sure that you have Blue Eye Spirit Dragon or Spirit with Eyes of Blue, and then Blue Eyes. You can link those off into seals, and if they Nibiru there, then you get the seals effect because it was tributed. Yeah, so really good card. It's a really good M-board piece depending on the hands too and the interaction that you had with your opponent. Next is the only XYZ in the deck, which is the Indigo Eye Silver Dragon. Yeah, this like I don't know how I feel about this card. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really decent, I think, into rogue matchups because they might have a lot of things on field that they don't want negated. But once it's summoned, it's a permanent negate of everything on their field. And then it can free special summon out Blue Eyes from your graveyard, I think, and it gives it attack. Like it's kind of decent. I've kind of like been here and there about the card. If you feel like cutting it out and you have better options, let me know in the comments. But I think I still run it because there might be one situation where I wish I had this card. Next, we're going to get into our Syncers of the deck. I have two of the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. This is mainly what you want to go into. You summon this using a one light tuner or one tuner, one non-tuner Blue Eyes monster, so it could be any of these four. Effectively, you made in special summon with any of these four here on the field. You can make this. This is what you want to end your board on. If you are going into both of these turn 1, I think you're doing it wrong. I don't think that's a very good idea. This one of the deck's worst nightmares is Nibiru. If you are not careful and you summon this out, then you summon your second one out, and you get Nibiru'd, then these are just done for. Their effects don't help against Nibiru. But anyway, this reads neither player can special summon 2 more monsters at the same time. And also it has the effect where you contribute a synchro to special summon, not synchro summon. Special summon a Blue Eyes, a light dragon synchro from the deck, which we have a few targets here, which I'm going to go over next. And then it gets destroyed during the end phase. There's some effects that you want that to actually happen. But really awesome card. It negates an activation in the grave as well. Really cool card. Next is we have the 2 you're mainly going to target with these. Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. This is really hard to make on its own. So you effectively want to special summon off of your Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. This is a negate of something on the face up field. It's non once, and then if it's destroyed, you can special summon any light dragon monster from your graveyard. So that can include any of these. It can include your Blue Eye Spirit Dragon again. It can include other things too. But yeah, so really awesome card. Next is I run one Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. It's really good for if you don't want your things destroyed by your own True Light. If you know that that's probably going to happen, then you summon this out and it protects your board for 2 turns. And then I have Lightstorm Dragon. This is really good for back row hate. This deck doesn't really do well with getting rid of back row other than Spirit. However, you almost want to always get Jet Dragon out first. You might not have access to Spirit until the next turn. So this is really good for getting spell traps off the field. And then I just got this card. You don't have to play it. It's the new Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. When you summon it, it's a free draw, and since Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon special summons out a light dragon monster in defense, this can attack in defense. You just apply its defense's damage calc. I think this is probably a decent card. I have not ran it that much at all, or found any situations where this would actually be really useful. I think maybe going second into a board with this, that way you can beat over something that is above 3,000, because the attacks on these, other than Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, are really low. However, this is never going to come out in attack position unless you hard make it. So, yeah. All right. And the last card I have is, or last three I want to talk about is the Tyrant Dragon and the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So you effectively want to equip this card with Wishes, and then you can hard make Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. It can be summoned out if you send a Blue Eyes you control with equipped with a fusion monster. And then this effectively attacks, and then you can activate its effect to set any trap from your graveyard to your field. It's actually a really good boss monster. I actually find myself making this a lot more. The reason why you want 2 is because you can actually make it with the spell Ultimate Fusion by using any dragons that you have. So you can use any of these plus Blue Eyes, or these 3 plus Blue Eyes from the grave if you need to recycle something. But that's the reason why I run 2, is because you might need to hard make 1, and I found myself in situations where I have. This is good. This is also practically a board wipe. You attack everything with this. It can attack any number of monsters once each. Yeah, really good card. That's really it for the main deck and the extra deck. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any thoughts about maybe some changes to it. Here's some sideboard options that I would like to go over that might help your game. Right now you have to run 3 Lancia in your side deck. It's just good into Malice. You can also run Chaos Hunter too. That's a decent card as well, but Lancia is a must. Next is, if you know you're going to go first, you run Judgments, because Tyrant Dragon can set Judgment back from deck. I found myself wanting a Judgment. I had a Judgment. I used the Judgment. Their turn ended. I think Judgment's actually really good right now. And then 3 Ultimate Slayer, because this deck does run every single type of extra deck. It runs XYZ, Link, and Spirit. Couldn't think of the word. That's why Ultimate Slayer is really good, I think, with this sideboard. Effectively, you want to use that for your side deck monsters. So, yeah, if you have Drolls you don't need, or I've been finding myself actually taking out the Imperms. I rarely take out the Effect Veiler because it might be really good on the search. But Ashes, yes. So these are all really good side deck options. Of course, play what you want. Nibiru is also a really good card. I actually haven't been running Nibiru in my decks because Mitsurugi is really popular right now, and Mitsurugi activates its effects if they're tributed. So if they get a turn 1 board and they have any Mitsurugi card on the field, and you Nibiru, because they will play it into it, it effectively doesn't matter to them. Effects will trigger because they were tributed. So yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think of this deck. Maybe some changes that you'd like. I have had pretty good success with this deck. Don't expect yourself to win any regionals with it. I think this version, like I said, the Primate version is much stronger. It has better removal. But yeah, so thanks for watching.